Finlandia, Finlandia.
Hello again everybody and welcome back to Fugit's Blitz. Now I'm going to go back to the history type of things, of real tanks, real stories, real people, you know, the kind of thing. So, back in the day when Blitz was pretty new to the scene, players actually seemed to be quite interested in the medals that they got. And they would wonder what some of these medals actually meant. Now, with the exception of the Rosini medal, the Kolobanov and the Ace Tanker, which everybody still wants nowadays, it seems that players now are less interested in some of the medals that they get, and they're not really fussed about them. That in itself is a shame. Not only because getting shiny things is a nice reward, and obviously an achievement, but also because the history behind some of those medals is now lost and unappreciated. So let's try to change that. Although with my sub base, it's gonna be a limited audience. In this video, I want to talk about two medals, both of which are relatively straightforward to win, but they can be a little bit tricky, and they do require some skill, at least one of them does, in order to get those medals. Both of these medals are named after Finnish tank aces from World War II. So, let's have a look at the men behind the medal. Now, before we start, I have to apologise in advance. My English isn't that great, let alone my ability to speak any other language, especially Finnish, renowned as being one of the, if not the most difficult of the European languages. So guys, you really have to excuse my very poor attempt at trying to pronounce these names, because they're both Finnish names. First off, we're going to start with the Lavasaleos medal. Now this medal is awarded if you destroy two enemy tanks of any type that are both a tier higher than your tank, whilst you are in a medium tank or within the same battle. Sounds pretty straightforward, and this medal is relatively easy to get your paws on it. But who exactly was Lavasaleo? Well, Rino Lavasaleo was a Finnish tank soldier. He served in three major wars during World War II. The Winter War, which was the Soviet invasion of Finland in 1939. The Continuation War, which by default was the Finnish invasion of the Soviet Union in 1941, and actually included the Finnish element of the siege of Leningrad. And the Lapland War, which saw the Finns actually go to war against its previous erstwhile ally, Germany, following the Moscow Armistice, where Finland agreed with the Soviet Union that they would remove all German forces from their territory. Lavasaleo served with distinction during the Winter War, where at the age of 17 he was wounded. But it wasn't until the Continuation War that he actually came to prominence. Now, in English, unfortunately, there's not much about the actual battle where he made a name for himself. But there are some accounts and after action reports, and there's quite a lot of stuff in Finnish. I mean, Lavasaleo himself became a very prominent author after World War II. And he describes a lot of his own individual experiences in his book, Armoured Warfare, 1941 to 44. Although, unfortunately, I've only ever found this book available in Finnish, a language, like I said, I myself cannot speak for toffee. Despite this, from the contemporary, albeit limited information in English, Lavasaleo was a tank gunner during the Continuation War of a T-34. Now, during the early stages of the Continuation War, he was credited with destroying 7 Soviet tanks in a single action. Although other sources add further to this by claiming that during the same action, he also destroyed dozens of trucks and artillery pieces. Regardless of whether the trucks and artillery pieces were involved, all sources are clear about the destruction of the 7 enemy tanks. An amazing feat in our own little game, let alone in real, actual life combat. I mean, this guy got a real-life Razani medal. Anyway. During the later stages of the Continuation War, Levasileo was seriously wounded during the Battle of Tali-Ihantala, the largest tank battle ever fought in the history of the Nordic countries and the Nordic region, which includes Norway, Sweden, Finland. Despite the seriousness of his wounds, because he was pretty seriously wounded during that battle, he actually recovered, and he was able to take part in the Lapland War until the end of hostilities in 1945. After the war, he became a very famous author, and many of his experiences have been portrayed in film, the most famous of which is Tali-Ihantala 1944, a 2006 Finnish movie about that actual tank battle, and it's well worth a look. But if you don't speak Finnish, you need the subtitles. So that's the little bit of story behind that medal. So let's have a look at the next one. This is Halonen's medal. Now this medal is awarded if you manage to destroy 3 enemy tanks with a tank destroyer, all of which must be a tier higher, but it doesn't matter about the class, in a single battle. The award is actually named after Erkki Hanalon, a Stug 3 commander. Now the Finns obtained Stug 3s from the Germans in around 1943, but some of them were delivered quite late, and they only saw action during the summer campaign of the Continuation War in 1944. It was during these operations that Halonen made a name for himself. Unfortunately, there is not much information, especially in English, regarding Halonen or his deeds. Well, not in detail. In fact, there's not that much in Finnish either. Nevertheless, what it is known is that during the summer campaign of 1944, Halonen and his Stug destroyed 3 T-34s, 2 KV-1s and 2 ISU-152s. Now, not all of these were done in one action, but during the summer season between June and July 1944. It is reported that he destroyed 1 T-34, 1 KV-1 and 1 ISU-152 in one single battle, and then in July he destroyed 2 T-34s and an ISU-152 in a completely separate battle, with the final KV-1 being destroyed later in 1944. It's really a shame that there is not much known about Halonen, but we do have a rather nice picture taken in 1960 with him standing next to his Stug, which interestingly has kind of been reproduced to an extent by the model maker Tamiya as a 1/35th model. Wow. It's a shame that nowadays we no longer really care that much for the other medals in the game. We only seem to care about 2 or 3, because all achievements, and they're exactly that, achievements, should be cherished. Not only that, but there is actually quite a lot of history behind some of the medals, which is being lost to an extent as World War II is now becoming quite a distant memory. Me personally, let's not do our veterans a disservice by ignoring these medals, the people whose names are associated with them, and the valiant deeds, the heroism, and in some cases, the sacrifices that were made in real life and is now enshrined as a kind of memorial within the game. Who knows, maybe one day Wargaming will release a legendary camo for the Stug 3, and even the T-34 with Finnish markings and paintwork. Only time will tell. Anyway, I've been Fujit, and that has been a brief look at the history behind 2 of the medals in the game that a lot of people really don't care about anymore, but I do. The Levasileu's medal and the Halonen's medal. I'm sorry for my really bad pronunciation of Finnish. Can't be helped, I'm afraid. But I did my best, and that's all that matters. Anyway, thank you for watching, guys, and until next time I'll say my usual stuff. Stay safe out there, have fun on the battlefield, and happy tanking, because that's what it's all about, having fun and being happy.